Well, thanks guys for meeting me on a Friday. I know that it's a little bit late for you over in the UK or in Germany right now, that it's already your weekend, but you sacrifice some of your time to meet with me for Open Line Friday, and I definitely appreciate that. My name is Josh Benoit, and I'm in marketing here in the US for EPLAN USA. This is being recorded, by the way. And what'll happen is that I'll post this on our YouTube for on demand afterwards, so you can take it in if you miss anything. But we have some great guests this week, and we want to take your questions. If there's anything that you want to know that we haven't talked about, or that you want to ask our experts right here, then please leave it in the chat. Raise your hand. We want to get to you and talk to you. So let's go ahead and introduce our guest today. Straight from you are in the UK right now, right, Chris?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Chris Louch, the director of go-to-market for EPLAN USA. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your time with EPLAN.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So I've been at EPLAN for 5 years now, and started in a sales position in the UK, and then I moved to headquarters to be part of the new EPLAN cloud setup with Thomas 4 years ago. And we've worked through a lot of that, and now I'm in the position of go-to-market lead for global, and this is basically the responsibility to take everything new and everything existing we have to all of our markets around the world in terms of products, services, solutions, whatever it might be. So yeah, this is my role.
Excellent. And Thomas, I would pronounce this Michael's over here, but it's Michels, right?
Yeah. But
yes,
so, I'm fine with it.
Okay. You're our Senior Director of Business Enablement. And tell us about your time with EPLAN as well.
Yeah, so let me start some time ago. So I started with EPLAN in 1999. So this is a long time ago, but in that time I covered a lot of different topics at EPLAN. So I started in the quality assurance, then moved to consulting. I went to product management, and for some years I was the head of product management, responsible for the overall portfolio of EPLAN. And then, as Chris already said, we made the step to define a cloud team to start developing cloud solutions. And yes, now for 1.5 years approximately, I'm part of the so-called customer journey team. So that means that we defined a dedicated team to take care about, let's call it from the first contact with our customers or prospects, through all the process of getting in closer contact, then of course getting into the business by implementing software solutions at our customers, and also take care for their onboarding and of course for their renewal process, so that we keep them really on track and using the software, and by this, of course, also improving their engineering environment and their engineering workflows. So I myself, my background is electrical engineer, and that is, you can call it in Germany, if you have something to do with it, you get in touch with EPLAN. You cannot avoid it.
So being in product management, did you work with Sean Mulheron?
Yes, of course. So
Okay.
Sean was a member of my team, and he's even longer with EPLAN. So this year he goes to 30 years. Amazing, amazing. And he is let me call him Mr. EPLAN. Yeah, so he can do everything, and he knows everything, and he's really a good colleague. I like him. Yeah, greetings.
Yeah, we all love him here too. I had to bring him up because it's the same. We feel like he's Mr. EPLAN for us too. If there's anything that we ever need or have a question about, then I'll just call him up right away. And about 45 minutes, an hour later, then I'll have my answer, because
quicker, huh? Even quicker.
Well, he gets to the question pretty quick, but then we go off on tangents talking about other things. So did you know that he's a bugler, that whenever he was growing up, he played the bugle?
Ah, okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I know. You see, this is off topic. I get off topic with him.
Yeah.
And this is where we go. I was going to ask both of you, are either, this is the opening weekend of F1, right?
Yes. It's a big day for me.
Okay.
I'm a big fan.
Now you touched Chris. He's the Mr. Formula One.
So who's your team?
For me, it's McLaren. So I live like 20 minutes away from the McLaren facility. we're very lucky that they are a customer of ours, and I've visited on many occasions. But they are my team. I've supported them for the last 5 years, and been very close to what they're doing. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they can do this year.
Their headquarters looks like a superhero layer.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's clinical. It's the cleanest facility you've ever seen, cleanest workshops you've ever seen. It's really something else. So yeah, it got me into the sport, and I'm addicted to it now because it's so close to home, right? So yeah, it's really, really cool.
That's fantastic. So now I know where I'm going to go visit, so I can go see McLaren. Thomas, you want
Yes.
to meet me
Yeah,
over
yeah.
there, and we'll go take a little look see.
Yeah.
Great idea. Great idea.
You know, this topic is something that Chris and I have been talking about for a little while now. In fact, I think Chris, you and I started in September to really talk about what's important to our consumers of the content that we create here at EPLAN. And right away you said the lack of skilled workers is a huge topic that you have researched. I felt like you were on a cutting edge with that, because there's a lot of people that have come out afterwards and talked about it and approached it, because it is such a big deal on their shop floor or in their business, and they're trying to figure out how to go about it. But I mean, for you've already kind of figured this stuff out, right? You're going to tell us all the answers today, you and Thomas.
I hope we can give some light on the situation. But I mean, for me to set the scene, we in my position as go-to-market and being head of go-to-market for EPLAN, part of my job is to understand the market trends worldwide, right? And what are the challenges our customers are facing, and what can we deliver to our customers that can help to resolve these challenges. And back in July last year, I carried out, I think, 70 or 80 interviews around the world with our colleagues at headquarters, colleagues in all of our subsidiaries around the world, with some customers. And the one topic that appeared in every single interview I did was there's a shortage of skilled workers. And this was not just in the US or in Germany, this was really worldwide. And I think the situation is getting worse. And hence you say it's coming more to light now. And of course, there's many other trending topics, but this was the one that we heard from every single person we spoke to. And therefore, this is what we've based our entire go-to-market on for this year from EPLAN, to really try to help our customers address this issue they're facing. And yeah, I thought it would be a good topic to talk about here today, because I think it's no different in the US from what I hear.
Yeah, it's definitely big over here. And we've had some clients that I've talked to that have addressed it too. I don't want to give away too many of their trade secrets, but it's been an interesting way to navigate through this issue that really, I think that it came to light more around the pandemic than anything, where we were trying to, we found a lot of solutions for issues, especially with EPLAN, because I don't know if you guys thought about this, but before COVID came around, everything was like hands-on right there. We're doing training on site, and we were always just sitting there with each other. And I think the model was to keep it that way. You wanted that personal touch, but how are you going to evolve? So EPLAN did find a way to evolve and started doing the trainings online, and found really creative ways to make it compelling to those that were taking training or learning about EPLAN. And it really, I think, created more of a touch point, because people don't have anybody to talk to whenever they're sitting at home all the time and they're doing their work, but don't have the touch points in the office. So they have them with EPLAN. So it's still the same with the skilled labor, and you don't have as many people on the shop floor because COVID just hit us really hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point.
Maybe I grabbed this word when you talk about the shop floor, but I think it is, of course, let's call it a hotspot, because you need the workforce, yeah, to let's call it to build the cabinets, or to build the machines and build the automation systems. but it is really a general topic also in engineering. So everywhere where you need these people that have a dedicated level of skill, and it is as it is always, yeah, you have maybe then these people that are really good, they do their job very good, and then the workload is rising and rising and rising. Yeah, these people are doing projects, and they just run out of time. They do overtime, and this is of course then it's very stressful for them. Maybe they have no really time to keep up to date, maybe with the latest technologies and all that topic. So that is somehow, you know, this principle of sharpen the saw. Yeah, if you cut trees all over the day, you have no time to sharpen the saw, and that is somehow yeah, where our customers and a lot of companies get really stuck in a situation where it's really maybe becoming really serious, because the people that are there then really always at 100+% of workload. Yeah, so and that is also something we have to take into consideration. It's human beings behind. Yeah.
So I think that we kind of get right to the point and we say, well, what can EPLAN do? What can we do to help this? What is our purpose to help this shortage?
Yeah, so maybe I can start. I think there's of course we cannot fix everything, right? And this shortage of skilled workers is not just in electrical engineers or in production. It's a general topic across many businesses. And as you said, you mentioned the pandemic, there's lots that retrain to move into other jobs because things slowed down, and there's really a global shortage. But from what we looked at and what we thought about where we can address this topic and what we will do this year with our launches, is to think about 3 separate areas. And this is firstly electrical engineers. We know there's a global shortage of electrical engineers coming into industry, and we have solutions where we can think about how we can basically do more engineering with the same amount of people, or do more engineering with less people in the ideal world. Then we have the production, as Thomas mentioned, these really skilled jobs in production of wiring panels or wiring cabinets, however we call them in the US. And indeed a very skilled job, and it takes a long time to train for this. And finally, we have the topic of education, where maybe we're not producing enough skilled graduates coming out of the education system to feed into industry. And these are 3 key areas where I think EPLAN can help. And this is where we've really put our focus for this year, on these 3 key pillars. So I think maybe we can start with thinking about the EPLAN user or the engineer themselves, and what we can do for them. I think this is a good place to start, right?
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Maybe I pick it up because I brought up this topic of when there are workers, they have that workload, yeah, that big amount of tasks to do. And then the first idea, and maybe that is not only dedicated to EPLAN, I think it's a general topic that thanks God we have computers in front of us, and we should use them, and we should use them the right way. So maybe if we transfer this to electrical engineering, I think there is a lot of thinking that companies think, okay, we have an implemented workflow and this is fine, and of course the guys create their schematics and they deliver it to the workshop and so on. But the idea is, okay, think about the how, yeah, so that it's really important to use dedicated systems, yeah, electrical design systems to do this, because these systems, they can take a lot of let's call them repetitive tasks, yeah, so very simple tasks you do in a panel or in a schematic design process, when it just comes to maybe take care for changes, or take care that the designations in the schematic are all right, that you for example handle your device list in parallel and so on. And when we have a look there, there's already a lot of potential, let's call them with the basic values such a software can deliver. Yeah, so it can take away all these repetitive tasks from the user, and he can really focus on engineering. Yeah, he can really start to develop the automation system, and then maybe based on the data he's putting into that schematic and is really creating, let's call it a description and a data-driven description of the automation system, then he can later maybe derive information from this description to other parties that are involved in that process. Yeah, maybe just by a click, create a device list, for example, or when we later think about the workshop, maybe to create a wire list or whatever. So really to change a little bit the mindset and think about, okay, what can the software or the computer in front of me do for me, yeah, if I use these solutions that are offered in the right way, yeah, and really work data based. Yeah, that is I think one of the key aspects we should really think about, yeah, to use dedicated software solutions for our tasks. We are talking here about schematic design, but also in all the other areas that maybe are out there where people get really in trouble with the workload. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good point, Thomas. And I think personally, I like to talk about these tasks as non-value added tasks. It's a bit of a negative, right? But when often when an engineering company or a machine builder or a panel builder looks into their electrical design department, they see that they're paying these engineers to do quite a lot of non-value add tasks at quite a high rate of pay, right? And these things could be stuff like label printing, for instance. I've been into companies and been to see engineering departments where they're paying an electrical engineer, a very skilled person, and they're sat in front of a label machine manually typing in numbers to print labels. And this is not what an engineer should be doing, right? And if we can automate just that one job, we give that engineer the time back to be doing what they should be doing, to innovate. And there's so many small things like this, which I call this non-value add tasks, that we can really identify and provide a solution to automate it in a very simple way. So it saves a ton of time already.
It's literally mind numbing,
Yeah.
because it's, as an engineer, you want to create, you want to do the things that you love. That's not, whenever an engineer put his resume together, that's not one of the things that he put that is his favorite. is labeling, or these non-value adds that are just, it's just mindless, kind of going through the motions of it, and you know that they hate all that. But this also brings in this is where the ROI for getting EPLAN starts to kick in, because you're looking at saving the engineer this time, and it's hours and hours and hours that you're paying an engineer to do something that is not really engineer work. I mean, it is, but it's not up to their capabilities. You want them to be creating and to have the I guess that not only creating but having creativity along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And these really take away from it, and it kind of makes them dread what they're doing a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So it's on the one hand is that I like the expression, these non-value add doings or tasks. So and on the other hand, you for example, it's also very, very basic thinking that yeah, it's maybe also another buzzword, not always start from scratch. Yeah, so that you really think about, okay, maybe what can be somehow standards you can reuse. Yeah, you can maybe create your own templates, yeah, that you can use, and that you put maybe even a little bit more effort in creating such a template and make it really full of data, yeah, device data, connection data, and all the descriptive data that can also be create added value in the following process. But when you put this effort in a template, and then you reuse that template of a schematic or a part of the schematic, yeah, motor control or PLC or maybe a light barrier connection or whatever, and then you use it maybe in every second project, yeah, you use it 10 times, 20 times, 40 times or whatever, this cuts down the initial effort, yeah, in pieces, yeah, in percentages. And this is, I think, also maybe a general idea, yeah, to rethink, okay, where maybe there are repetitive parts in our projects. And the funny thing is, often when you ask this question the first time to the engineer, you said, no, every machine is special. Yeah, we create, for every machine, we create a schematic, and then you just ask him, okay, maybe show 4 or 5 of typical projects. Yeah, let's have a look at the pages, and then you see, okay, there's the power supply. Yeah, maybe there is some, as I said, these motor controls. Yeah, you maybe have different sizes of motors. Okay, but you have the standard control. Maybe it's reverse or not. If you have a whatever control, PLC control or manual control on site or whatever, and you have these different types. And you can think about, okay, I can put them to a library, and that is already the first step, yeah, to rethink how I do, or to rethink my doing a little bit. And it's becoming even more interesting when I work, for example, when I work in a team, yeah, and we have a common library, we all work on the same templates, yeah, and maybe somebody is responsible for the templates and takes care for the quality. Yeah, so that is, I think, conceptual thinking. And this is also something what I mentioned when I initially talked about this customer journey topic and the onboarding topic. So from EPLAN perspective, it's not only to offer the software that can do all these things, it's also to offer these methods and processes to our customers to do to use the software the right way, and to also maybe rethink how they work today. Yeah.
I think it's something, it's a lot of times it has something to do with being uncomfortable. That we like the idea of change and doing something that makes our lives, our workplace more efficient, but it's uncomfortable. I mean, we could all of us, if we're right-handed, we could learn to throw a ball or write our names with our left hand. It would take some time. We could put in the work, though. It'd be uncomfortable for a little while, but we could do it. And I think that it gets a little bit overwhelming in the beginning whenever you think about it. But whenever you start going through the motions and you stop relying on that muscle memory, that you find that you let yourself go a little bit and do a little bit more, and that comfortability comes along with it, and it feels better as you go.
Yeah.
I like this. I like this point, Josh, and it brings me back to before the session we were talking about food, right? And I like to cook, and the analogy I like to use with this is whenever we move into a new house, we tend to just throw our belongings in, and we throw the stuff in the kitchen in the first drawers we see. And normally our kitchens are not efficient, right? We've put stuff in quickly because we've moved into a new house. And the analogy I like is that it's like somebody comes into your house and rearranges your kitchen for you. They move the knives and the utensils to a different drawer or something like this. And even though it's much more efficient, you would be frustrated with this until you realize that it gives you a better workflow, and it gives you a better way of moving around the kitchen, and the things are where you need them. And eventually you find, yeah, this is much better. I can work better in this kitchen. And I like to use this analogy a lot. I think it's very similar, that this is what happens, right? It creates some uncomfortable situation for the engineer, maybe in the beginning, but then once you see the workflow and it starts to provide this efficiency, it really pays dividends, right?
Yeah.
And both of you have probably seen someone that's gone through that, and then after the fact, they're so excited about it. It creates an extra level of excitement for what they do on a daily basis, because then they're not thinking about labeling or numbering or it's like it's all gone away, and they can be excited about every project they work on.
Definitely. We maybe to really top this, I was really surprised when we had some statements of customers. So maybe just to explain it short words, that we have these customer events all over the year. So we try to do also some international ones, and there we have also best practices where customers present their solution. And of course, this is often then the case when they already, maybe they are now using EPLAN for 1 or 2 years, and then they show, hey, what was our, let's call it a journey, yeah? So when from switching to EPLAN, and then they share their experience. And there's often, and this is again maybe now going back to that maybe let's call it war for talent, yeah? So if there is a shortage of skilled people, it was really department heads or even CEOs telling us that using a professional environment for doing, for example, now electrical design, creating schematics and all that stuff, makes the company more attractive for skilled people who are searching, in the market, or maybe they get in contact. Maybe this is somehow a sub-supplier relationship or whatever, and they see, wow, these guys are really working on a high quality level. They're working with a 3D drawing of a cabinet. They're doing maybe these, as I said, they're working on standards. They have their templates. They do these projects very quick, and then you become attractive, for people. Yeah, they want to work in such an environment.
Yeah, that kind of leads us into that second pillar that Chris was talking to in the production side of things, really. Because, yeah, I mean, I know that we have so many different tools for our engineers to work with, and on the production side, I don't know if maybe it's too overwhelming for that as well.
What do you mean, Josh?
Like whenever because I think that we think about solutions, and we're all happy about having those solutions in front of us, but the actual doing sometimes is a little tedious.
Yeah, I fully understand what you mean. I think maybe another, as Thomas was just mentioning, this feedback we get from customers. Maybe another one. I'm not sure if we can mention the customer in the US. I think you know who it is, Josh. But one that really sticks in my mind of this journey with EPLAN and what it's meant to the business is a CEO of a panel builder there, who told once to me, EPLAN enables me to say yes more. This is really powerful, right? That with the same amount of staff, the same facility, EPLAN has enabled me to say yes to more projects and to take more projects on. And this is a huge statement for me of this shortage of skilled workers, right? I can do more. That's it. I can say yes more to the requests for quotes that I get in my business. And this was a really cool point. And this, I think, links not just to the engineering, but also to the production and what happens there in the production facility as well. But when I think about the production side and what you mentioned, I think we can then again split this production side into two sections, if you like, because we have first, when we think about a panel builder, the manufacturing of the cabinet or the panel itself, the cutting and all of this manual work that needs to be done. And then once the panel work is done or the metal work is done, you then shift to the second stage, which is more the mounting of devices and the wiring of the cabinet. And both of these are very skilled jobs and very different jobs. So I think we can look at it from both angles and maybe follow a flow, and again give some more examples of customers where we've seen a real change in the production and manufacturing side. I don't know if Thomas, you wanted to start with this production topic.
Yeah, I can, of course. So and maybe I first what Josh said, that you said, okay, maybe in some cases it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And therefore I always try, and this is also something that, to be honest, it changed a little bit in our mindset as well at EPLAN, because of course when you have all these, so you said it, yeah, you have all this software and you have these solutions, and then of course you are really maybe now we can take Sean as a good example. Yeah, he's fascinated. He's really throwing it as a customer and said, hey, you have to do this and that and that. But I think, as we said, that has something to do with change, and you have to go and maybe you go in first steps, yeah, so that you take the decision, okay, when and for example in my design, I create the schematics, and then I just give the schematics away to the workers. This is, I think, the first topic we have to rethink. Yeah. So because then you need a guy in the workshop who's able to read the schematic or who has a long year experience, and just from a schematic layout, yeah, to go down and to drill down this information. Okay, how to build that cabinet, and what, for example, what Chris said, how to do that cutting and do the preparation of the panel, yeah, for the further process. And maybe even when it comes to sketching some 2D layout, yeah, it is also a challenge still for the worker, because he has to start then with that manual process, or mainly manual process, to do all that cutting and drilling and all that stuff. So it would be much easier maybe to have a really a drilling pattern, for example, yeah, that is on a high level, or even maybe further data that is derived from a real 3D model, yeah, so that we really have to think, okay, how can, and I'm now coming back, you know, that I like that word data, but it's more than a pure schematic. Yeah, you should forward to the workshop, because then you have the basis, yeah, to do again some, let's call it first steps into automate or make your further process much easier for the people in the workshop, because you hand over well prepared and fitting data for them, fitting information, yeah, exactly the information they need to do their job, yeah. So that is, I think, again, something to rethink what can be done to support the workshop here.
You know, and smart production has really changed the game. Honestly, I've had so many, and look, I've been with EPLAN for about a year now, so there's a lot for me to learn out there. But I've had so many of our great clients and partners come up and talk to me about their experience with EPLAN, and they say, look, smart wiring, smart mounting, complete game changers. We had at Rockwell Automation Fair, we had a challenge. I don't know if either one of you knew about this, but we had a challenge to see how long it would take to wire just 3 wires, just 3 wires, how long it would take to wire, and who could go the fastest. So if you're thinking about without smart wiring, how long would it take you to wire 3 wires? Because I know that Kruno was telling me the estimate is probably 5, 6, 8 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
Our fastest time was less than 30 seconds for 3 wires.
Cool. Yeah. Really cool.
I mean, that right there, just think about how many production hours you're taking off the books just doing that. And again, something we talked about just the other day. I watched this show, and they talked about bringing it was a factory, and they talked about bringing robots in, and people were worried about their jobs. But what they found overall was that the more that you included this automation, then the more people that you had to hire because of this automation. And it also made more people move up the chain. They would learn at this level, and then the more that they wanted to learn and grow, they were moving up a lot faster than they would in a traditional workplace sense before COVID, because it's making it easier for them to learn.
Yeah.
But also, Josh, I think it's not just about this. It's also about freeing up time, right? And I come back to this comment that I heard about EPLAN enables me to say yes more. If you can free up your production staff's time, you can get more things through production, and this is absolutely key for me, that you can provide more output with the same amount of people. And I think when we think about this process, and Thomas and I talked about this earlier, generally the process is first the manufacturing of the cabinet or the panel, these cutting and all of these things that are very manual. Then the panel's moving along for mounting devices and wiring. And it's these two separate stages. But I think what we'd like to do, we have maybe a couple of cool videos from customers, and one I would really like to share with you is quite a funny video. I think it's very well produced by one of our customers who's a reasonably large panel builder in the UK. And they recently invested in automation systems to up their output without upping the number of staff they had. So yeah, if it's okay with you, I'll share that now, and it's just a few
please do.
minutes.
Yeah.
Let me try this and make sure it works.
That's cool. Yeah.
That's funny. That actually kind of leads into exactly what Jeff just put in the chat. He said that that EPLAN is making manufacturing cool, and you have a younger demographic or a younger workforce that's looking at this, and it's not boring. And again, bringing up that word tedious, it's actually cool and very high tech work that's being done, and they're excited to go into work. They're excited to be there every day. If you tell somebody that you got a job and you can work with lasers, you know, you're cutting nails, and you get to explain what you're doing, that, you know, all of this ties together, especially the great value that you have with working with EPLAN and Rital on a lot of this stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah.
What you can show someone and how excited they would be going into work every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe it's even I think the situation is like when these let's call it a younger generation is moving to this working places. Maybe they even will not understand if there they have to make the step back to no data or to no computing or whatever. They say, what? Yeah. So I think this is for them. It's natural, and the other way around is somehow strange. But But as you said, for maybe for existing work, or for your working for your working stuff, this is somehow maybe a change. And then I like what Chris said, that it's of course important that they get the feeling, and that they see, yeah, what can be possible, yeah. And I think this is always also a highlight on the fairs, yeah, when you can show what is the let's call it the standard today. And of course, again, maybe you build a bridge where you say, hey, you can make your first steps into, for example, when we talk about this wiring topic, yeah, you can say, okay, as you said, yeah, you can do 2 minutes or 3 minutes per wire, because you have to maybe take it, cut it, do the treatment and all that stuff. Or you can just start with a small machine that is cutting the wire for you while you maybe are mounting the first wire. The second is already cut it in length. Then you have a small machine that is doing the wire treatment just by click, click. Yeah, you do it in maybe 1 second per wire end. And then you can start mounting again while the machine is producing the next wire. So that can be the first step. Or maybe you can just get provided prepared wires from a machine that is doing approximately some 100 wires an hour, yeah, for example. So that is the wide range you can choose from. And this is, I think, everything is, of course, let's call it, make the positive experience, yeah. And then customers go ahead and make the next steps, yeah, because they see that there is added value.
Yeah, but I think, Thomas, it all comes back to what you said again, is having data available. And I really like what you said about the next generation of engineers, and we have to excite them to get into this game. And we've had this discussion so many times. I have a 17-year-old daughter, and it's amazing her expectation is that her data that she needs for college, so her Microsoft Office files or whatever it might be, the expectation is that whatever device she picks up anywhere in the world, the data is there. This concept of saving and having servers and only being able to access from one machine is over for the next generation. They have a pure expectation that every device they pick up, the data is available. And this is our future, and we cannot ask them to take a step back when they move into business, right? They're expecting this, and we have to provide it.
I feel like for a younger generation that we should probably think about something in the way of gamification. That if you look at what I would say a lot younger viewer is consuming, most of it is on YouTube. Most of it has to do with games. You know, they're watching people play games. But there's a way to gamify what we do at EPLAN to make it I don't know what that solution is. I mean, you guys are much smarter than I am and can figure this part out and have the amount of years since Thomas has been here since 1999. There's a way for us to do this. I know, and I'm just thinking out loud, but then you have that cool factor that Jeff was talking about, that you have something for them to go to and think, well, this is actually fun for me, and I get paid to do this. The same as those people that play video games and you're watching them.
Yeah, I think this is another topic we can somehow relate to that data topic. Yeah, if I think only if you have really data in your process, and when we talk about that buzzword digitalization, so that you have, for example, not only data, but you have also the software and the systems behind, and the data flow is seamless, yeah, in the process. Then you are also able, let's call it, convert or somehow transform that data in a suitable display or suitable presentation for the one who needs data in that, maybe for his task or whatever. So I think I know that that Chris prepared another video, and it's also very, very funny, the story behind is. But maybe let me first explain a little bit about that smart wiring approach. Yeah, we for years or decades it was standard to just forward the schematic to the workshop, and then you have somebody who can read the schematic and do the wiring. And today you would say, hey, why, when you own, or not only, but when you do the wiring of a cabinet, you need the wiring data. Yeah, and that can be a list of wires, source, target, the type of the wire, the color, cross section, whatever. And then maybe that is a first step into maybe some percentages of gamification is you get it presented, and you then just can click through it, because when you connect the source, you say, I connected it. When you connect the target, you connected it, boom, next wire is there. And you have a 3D view beside, where you can get an orientation inside the cabinet or on the mounting panel. Okay, where is the source? Where is the target? Or you can even get in communication with the engineer, because you find out, okay, maybe a device is missing, or a designation of a device is not correct. Yeah, and then you can send a message to him. Yeah, you can, and then this the way people think today. It's not maybe writing something on paper, put a sticker somewhere, and then this sticker gets lost, or it gets never back to the engineer. Yeah, they do this topic. This arrow will never be, or latest on the when it goes on site. Yeah, in the startup phase, then you will realize that there is a mistake. But the people are used to communicate in an electronic environment, in a data-driven environment, messages. Yeah, and yeah, fitting information. Yeah, that is, I think, these are first steps into, let's call it, the vision of gamification. So maybe Chris, what about?
Yeah, maybe I can show you this, but just to give some context, this was one of our customers, I think, in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
I think our colleague, our esteemed colleague Harold van Moordenberg, commented under their post that they said about smart wiring, and said that looks too easy, and they really challenged him. Okay, Harold, you have no technical background here, but come inside and see if you can do it. And it turned into a real thing, right? But let me try and share again and see if this this works.
we lose him? Is he working for them now full time? Or
do you know, it's funny. It's funny you say that, Josh, because we have some really crazy examples of this, right? And I have a customer in near London, another panel shop who had a shortage of workers, and they've actually now employed their what was previously their cleaner for the building to wire cabinets. I've heard of one of our customers who's employed their hairdresser, their barber, during COVID to then move and retrain into wiring cabinets. I've heard of a postman, I think, in the Netherlands. So this is really crazy that we're seeing these career changes into a technical career, right? From very different jobs and really moving into becoming a skilled worker in wiring panels. And it's really happening. We hear these stories, yeah, at least on a monthly basis, Thomas, I think about this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
and I feel like when we hear the words lack of skilled labor, people think, well, that's taken in a negative connotation. No, what we're saying is that we can have someone that is not skilled and make them skilled labor.
Absolutely.
That we can put them in that position. And
Yeah.
I know that we have a few minutes left. I want to make sure that we kind of get into the education part of this too, because that's something that's huge over for us in the US with Sergio and Suna that's in Germany and in the UK that have been pushing this education. This is going to be something big for us here in the US in the next year. Especially whenever we start making our way into these new institutions, which we're in right now with SUNY over in New York, and I mean, it's one of those things that, in fact, our next I'll kind of give you a preview. Our next Open Line Friday is talking about that education and what we're doing to push that here in the U.S. Sorry, I almost forgot to mention that. I even told you I got to talk about that.
So we shouldn't give too much of a spoiler away then. We should keep it on a very high level. But I think, and maybe Thomas, please add something if I miss something, but I think this is really somewhere where we want to grow our presence globally, right, in the education systems. And this really helps feed talented engineers skilled in EPLAN or skilled in the software directly into businesses for a fraction of the cost of what it would cost to try and go through a recruitment agency and find people. And we're on a huge drive at the minute. We're developing curriculums, we're developing materials, we already have training courses and examinations for students, teachers and lecturers. So we don't just provide them with a box of software. We're really giving them a curriculum to teach. And what we found is that we have now lots of our customers are approaching their local technical college, for example, and going to them and saying, look, we can help you, we can sponsor you to use this curriculum from EPLAN. It will give your students a better education in electrical engineering. You'll be working with one of the best packages in the world. And then we will take graduates each year from you and give them work, put them into a position in our company. And this is happening a lot more. And the ideas come from our customers, right? This isn't an incentive that we were pushing, but our customers have actively gone and done this with their local technical colleges. And of course we support them and we want to help them do this. And I think this is a fantastic way to also tackle this shortage of skilled workers and to go out and incentivize colleges, universities, technical colleges to really start training their students in the best software, in the best way, that they're ready for work and really primed to go straight into a job. So it's a win-win situation, I think.
Yeah, from an institution standpoint, the fact that you do get the curriculum and you have, it's almost an unboxing where you're unboxing everything that EPLAN is handing you to go in there and start right away. We don't just say, here's the software, kind of figure it out. No, we're doing the heavy lifting for you. And I think that makes it much more lucrative than going in there with just an idea and not having anything to back it whenever you have this whole complete package that we're giving an institution, an instructor right away.
Yeah. So there's a highly motivated team and behind that, a global one. And I can only ask everybody to join that session and to get in touch with them and to see their ideas and what they're all doing globally. And there's just maybe another. But I really stop after the teaser, so I do not talk about our support of Formula Student. But this is also an amazing approach, and there you really see the young generation. They are really let's call it on the edge of technology. Yeah, so they're really driving this topic. And they will definitely show something, and it's really fascinating what they do there. Yeah, really cool. Yeah,
and to support this,
talking about it.
to support everything that we've talked about today, Alessandro just put in the chat, I don't know if you saw this, one of his clients hired a former waiter. 2 weeks was wiring panels with smart wiring.
Yeah.
It's enablement, that we're enabling people to further themselves, their careers, and I mean, a career that they didn't know this career path existed before, but then found themselves working at something they really love to do, and they're engaged on a daily basis. I think it's pretty incredible. So guys, I know it's after hours for you. You're ready to get to your weekend. I can't thank you enough for joining today, Chris Louch and Thomas Michels. That I couldn't do these without you. And Open Line Friday is always good whenever I have good, fresh coworkers that want to do this with me. I don't know why anybody wants to do it.
It's fun. It's fun. Yeah.
I'm so thankful that you came on, and I will put information for both of you in the on-demand so that anybody can reach out to you if they have any other questions. So thanks so much.
Yeah.
Chris, enjoy F1 this weekend. Exciting weekend to kick off. And Thomas, we'll talk to both of you very soon, okay?
Okay.
Thank
Josh,
you. It's been a pleasure,
to be
Josh.
here.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.